Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Ball Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. This is part of our ELD Legacy Open. We had 33 players here battling it out for 100% payout of all of the entries, along with the champion getting that playmat you see on your left, a one-of-a-kind. That is our most ambitious mat to date, full art. That takes quite a bit of time and effort, and I am very happy with how it came out. And the champion at the end of this will go home with that mat, along with a spot on the Wall of Legends, permanently celebrating their victory over a very tough field. And here we have Taylor on Blue-Red Delver versus Jared on Maverick, working on the presentation here. I think we've pretty much got the lighting solved. Hopefully we'll be able to see all of the cards without too much glare. Going to be trying some different audio options with this tournament. So let me know in the comments what you think of the audio and if we're moving in the right direction. This is actually with the on-camera mic, or on laptop mic I should say. Taylor mulliganing here down to 6, scrying. Looks like he's going to keep, and we are going to be off to the races here. Jared opening up with Verdant Catacombs. Polluted Delta for Taylor. No fireworks yet. On his second fetch land, and no play for Maverick. Maverick, deck that we haven't been seeing a whole lot of. Aggro Loam very often takes the spot of Maverick, which is more of a blend of Death and Taxes style bears, whereas Maverick, where Aggro Loam tends to rely more on Chalice of the Void to disrupt the opponents. Maverick has cards like Thalia and Gaddock Teak. And Ponder also has a full boat of Swords to Plowshares for opposing creature decks. Ponder resolving for Taylor. And another basic island into Terramander. We'll see if this guy is going to be fast enough. It looks like he's separating his graveyard into 2 piles. Trying to keep track of how many instants and sorceries not actually allowed. We'll see if that ends up becoming a point of objection later. All basic lands so far. Jared going with some Urza's Saga land, and Taylor on FBB. Scrubland coming out, and still no play here from Jared, getting wastelanded, and now an Assassin's Trophy on this Terramander. Blue-Red Delver sometimes draws threat-heavy hands, and this type of play is welcome. Other times they really just need to ride a single threat to victory. In either case, Assassin's Trophy finding another basic land on board here. And Noble Hierarch from Maverick. Really slow building game here. A Bayou, and what do we have here? Perhaps Knight of the Reliquary. No Sword of Fire and Ice. This may get equipped to Noble Hierarch. Once that resolves, every threat that Jared lands is going to be a very legitimate threat. So that is actually getting Force of Willed here. And Forked Bolt taking Noble out of play. Four mana this time. Green Sun Zenith for 3. And that gets Spell Pierced. And a Noble Hierarch. At least a creature on board here. Bit of a train wreck here. Back and forth. Just no real ability to pose any threats. Chain Lightning back to back, killing 1-drops, and now we've got a Delver. It'll be Maverick's turn to answer. And Assassin's Trophy, getting rid of the insect and shuffling away that Force-a-Will. And no more basics. So excellent value there out of Assassin's Trophy. Looks like both players down to just 1 card. And this is an absolute car crash. Young Pyromancer, Jite with no creature. Does Taylor have any cantrips to get this ball rolling? And here we go. A couple of Young Pyromancers now with a Brainstorm, elemental tokens being generated. And now this game is taking a step towards its conclusion. 2 damage coming in. Jared going to need a threat. I'm going to need to hold on to that Jite. Force, pitching Spell Pierce. Taylor is Hellbent. What are these last 2 cards in Jared's hand? Terramander, and that's going to be able to flip right away. And that's going to do it for game 1. So just an absolute car crash of a game. Finally, Taylor managing to stick a couple of Young Pyromancers and get the ball moving forward. Sideboard options, Jared almost certainly more prepared for blue-red Delver than Delver would be for Maverick. A lot of the focus of the aggro-loam matchup is around dealing with Chalice of the Void. And I do believe the Noble Hierarchs would tip off that this is not actually going to be your traditional aggro-loam. A whole bunch of 1-drops included in Maverick. The Noble Hierarchs, Swords to Plowshares, all of which can be high impact. Green Sun Zenith for X equals 0. Of course, Green Sun Zenith is also an aggro loam. A great tutor and a way to have solid mana sinks late in the game. Really leveraging running singleton cards. Gaddock Teague, probably the scariest card in Maverick as a player who's done a lot of reps with combo. Gaddock Teague can actually be a real issue. Tough to say which is actually more of a concern, Chalice or Gaddock Teague. I mean, I guess Teague is actually worse. If you're playing Storm and you don't have a way of removing him game 1, he is actually potentially just game over. Not going to be able to cast Tendrils or Empty. Green Sun Zenith can allow that to happen on turn 2 very often. Just a little bit of mana acceleration. But that is not the case here. We're on Blue-Red Delver. Teague not hugely powerful in this matchup. Perhaps Swords to Plowshare is going to be one of the more problematic cards, but as we saw, Young Pyromancer can go very wide if given the window. Fetching here for Jared. And no more basic land strategy. Looks like he's going non-basics this game. Perhaps he had mana issues. We actually don't know what the final 2 cards in his hand were. Thalia. And that is a potentially very problematic card. There is a bunch of burn in Blue-Red Delver. But digging to it feels awful. Does he have it in hand? No. Young Pyromancer. Pyromancer definitely going to want that Thalia to go away. Very difficult to grow an army of tokens when all of your spells are costing at least 2 mana. And a 2 mana Swords to Plowshares, getting Pyromancer out there. Cannot force or daze thanks to Thalia. And there's Mother of Runes, and now's the time. Forked Bolt would be an absolute blowout. What does he have here? Oh, and he actually has the Forked Bolt, Absolute Daggers. Oh, that is savage. A 2-for-1 there. Clearing out both Thalia and Mother of Runes. If that Mother of Runes had just one more turn, she would have been able to hold down the fort for the rest of the game. And now Scavenging Ooze looking to add a little bit of beef here. It's going to be able to eat multiple creatures here, the Mother of Runes and the Thalia. The Young Pyromancer was swords, so that is an exile. Brainstorm and Fetching, so the two worst cards have been eliminated from Taylor's hand. And it looks like a Chain Lightning before the untap. So very timely answers so far for Blue-Red Delver, playing more like a control deck than the traditional hold down the fort with a single attacker, countering key spells, removing creatures that are of relevance. Here, Taylor really keeping the board completely clear. And Jared passing the turn, and that is likely to be a very important turn here. We've got Black Splash here, indicating that this might actually be Grixis Delver. We haven't really seen any black cards. And here's True Name Nemesis. And this guy does set a clock. We've got 5 or 6 turns left. Jared going to need to race. True Name's so good at changing directions. He creates a inevitability, turning sideways, attacking each turn, completely unblockable, can't be targeted. But then if things do start to move too far in the other direction, just a phenomenal blocker, able to block and kill most of the format and stand up against everything else. Particularly for a deck like Maverick, which isn't going to have much in the way of evasion. 4 mana, and do we have a Green Sun Zenith? Yes, we do. And that is brushed aside with a Spell Pierce. Each turn that Jared's tapping out to no effect brings one step closer to the end of the game. Wasteland restricting Jared's mana. I do not know what that card is. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. It is getting Force of Willed, so it may have been an answer to True Name. It looks like it had a pirate on it, kind of reminiscent of the Ixalan block, so maybe some new tech there. Brainstorm. Taylor just needs to keep it together for 2 more turns here. It looks like Snapcaster adding on, Snapcaster Forked Bolt clearing out the Noble, and a Swords to Plowshares back to take care of the Snapcaster. 2 turns here, gonna need some type of Edict effect. Down to 1, and then a Chain Lightning wrapping it up. No chance to top deck a Liliana or Edict. Blue-Red Delver taking it down in 2.